Hello everyone, Pyro here, and welcome back to SOULCALIBUR 6 Libra of Original Soul, starring 2B. In the last episode, we have left Daka and left Maxi's pirate crew behind in exchange for the wandering samurai Mitsurugi. And we also met another one of Drona's companions in Hongyue. And now, we are about to head to the Astral Fissure in Yangguang and possibly save Hauran. But not before we stop by the Philippines real quick, because there's something we gotta take care of. Right after this random encounter. I didn't know who my opponent was, but if it was a fight they were after, it was a fight they were going to get. Bonus mission! The more time remaining on completion, the greater your reward. Well, how about that? Let's go ahead and start. Because in SOULCALIBUR, you must do everything to please the last priestess of the winds. Because the last priestess of the winds is the best character of all time. And those of you who are thinking what I think you're thinking, don't. Because she is not legal yet. You sickos. Ow, stop it. I want to get as many rewards as possible out of here. This lizard man's making it too. 64 seconds. Well, that meant me. $3,150 gold. And that's it, sadly. Alright, so Village of the Wind Deity, the Priestess of the Winds. I visited an island whose inhabitants were said to possess unusual powers. A gentle breeze caressed my face as I climbed the hill. At its peak stood Clayton, her beautiful silver hair a sight to behold. Opponents attacks absorb health, and we're fighting a Nightmare Demon, a Zasalamel Demon, and an Astaroth Demon. Well, Astaroth Vampire. I had heard of an island home to an ancient tribe blessed with special powers. A light breeze accompanied me on my way to their village. As I climbed a hill, I cast my eyes to the top. A young girl was standing there, her face upturned to catch the sun. I called out to her, and she replied with a voice as clear as a blue sky. My name is Plata. I am a priestess of the winds in the village of the Wind Deity. I know you have come from afar, but I'm afraid our village is not accepting guests at present. When I asked her why, she dropped her gaze. The last priestess of the winds has collapsed. Her life hangs by a thread. Thus, any that may stir the winds of our village must be turned away. Silence lingered in the air. To break it, I asked who this last priestess of the winds was. Our people worship the winds, and have given birth to a line of priestesses blessed with special powers. I barely fit to call myself one of them. She explained that the mystical abilities of her people faded with each generation, leaving most priestesses of the winds with only a fraction of their ancestors' power. One girl, however, has been blessed with unprecedented power. She may be the last true priestess of the winds, and so we named her the last. But one day the winds from the west brought us terrible portents. A great affliction befell the last priestess. Now she lies unconscious, wandering the ways at the brink of death. May I ask you, traveler, did you come from the west? If you know what happened, I beg you to tell me. She could only be talking of one thing, the evil seed. I explained everything I knew about it. So it was this evil seed? Even the elders say they have never sensed anything like it before. Plata looked up to the sky, her eyes troubled. After a few moments of thought, she once again dropped her gaze to look at me. Traveler, my duty here is to quell the dark spirits. Their power grows daily since that portentous day. I must remain, but it is far too dangerous for you to stay here any longer. It was then I realized the wind had ceased, and twisted beings wreathed in stagnant air were closing in on us. I readied my weapon to defend Plata. We fight some evil demons! Demons that need Jesus! So it begins. You know, these guys are malefics. You know what I don't understand about malefics in Libra of Soul? The malefic characters you can create in creation, they're not allowed to have hair, but these malefics, they're sporting hair right now. I don't get it. Why are these malefics allowed to have hair and our malefics can't? Stupid. We have to rely on the jewel tool to give him hair, just like I relied on a jewel tool to make this playthrough in the first place. And this one's dark side, so I have no complaints. Actually, I do. Why couldn't they use the wings of physics instead of these breakable ones? Anyway, it's done. Hey, title, Soul of 2B. Thank you. You are surprisingly strong. And that power. The breeze rages around you. Are you somehow connected to the evil seed? It seems that you learned much about me during the fight. Perhaps her abilities as priestess weren't as modest as you thought. Yet, the power that flows through you is still pure, unstained by good or ill. Possibility swirls around you. Yet, I sense that you are not evil. No, not yet. As I said, we are unable to welcome guests at present. But you should come to this island again. Please, visit us. Plata bowed deeply, then descended the hill towards her village. We could go to the Philippines again. And maybe fight Talon when she gets better. Oh, there's still more. On my return to the village of the Wind Deity, I once again met Plata on top of the same hill. I was pleased to hear she remembered me, too. And the stage is slippery. Crap. On my way back to the village of the Wind Deity, Plata was again standing atop the hill where I first met her, her eyes closed. She noticed me and walked over with a smile. I asked her what she had been doing. The same as before. Listening to the wind's whispers, seeking news of imbalance and great events. It is part of my training, and a way to hone my powers as a priestess of the winds. The last time we met, she detected the presence of malevolent spirits. These priestesses must have supernatural abilities. I would love to take you to my village, but I have something to ask of you first. Apparently, the village was holding a wind divination ritual in 2 days. Plata was to perform a sword dance to honor their gods, but she was feeling nervous. It is less of a dance and more of a practical demonstration of my skills. Our village's style is not just for show after all. However, I can only learn so much practicing by myself, so I was wondering if you would help me. Plata looked a little flustered and nervous, but if it was just practice, I saw no harm in helping her. You really are a good person. Now let us begin. Winds, hear me. I dedicate this dance to you. Not exactly Talon yet, but it's Talon style. So you should get a good idea of what to expect from here.
Battle 1. Fight!
I hate these slippery stages. The slippery physics still apply even when you're in the air. No! Plata fell first. That was too close. No. Can we get her to fall again? Yes! These slippery stages are annoying but fun at the same time. When our practice was over, Plata led me to her village. Finally, I'm starting to feel confident about the ceremony. Thank you so much. The winds must have guided you to me. Did I tell you about my cousin Talum? She's just begun practicing the sword dance. I want to be a good role model for her. Thinking of her cousin, a slight smile curved Plato's lips. The ritual is the day after tomorrow. Do come and watch. I'll tell the elders you'll be there. 2 days later, despite being a rather simplistic affair, the events show how devoted the villagers were to their faith. Plata walked alone into the center of a ring, and the dance began. Her movements were beautiful, graceful, and her sword sung through the air, whipping up a breeze around her. As her dance ended, she sent a gust of fresh wind in my direction, which swirled around me before fading into the distance. The ritual ended shortly after. I searched for Plata to say my farewells, but she was nowhere to be seen. I eventually found her on the hilltop where we first met. Forgive me. Plata's cheeks were wet with tears. I'm a priestess of the winds, and have much to do before the last priestess of the winds regains her strength, but I'm not strong enough. At the end of my sword dance, I sent the wind to you. It should have cleansed you of all the darkness you bear, but I failed. Tears rolled down her cheeks, then she hastily wiped them away. I wanted to lessen your burden. I stayed by her side until she regained her composure. The sun had begun to set, slowly turning the hill a glorious mirage of red and orange. Thank you for coming to watch the ritual to me. If you visit again, I'll introduce you to Talum. And for now, our business in the Philippines is complete. We won't be going there again until much later in the playthrough. So we're gonna go ahead and end the expedition right here and learn, but explore a bit. And learn the samurai's way. Across the seas to the east is an island country named Japan. Mitsurugi's what they call a samurai from those parts. I left my homeland to search for a legendary sword called Soul Edge. I am a warrior, sworn to the sword. I wanted Soul Edge to help prove that a blade can be stronger than any Tanegashima. However, I never found it. Pah! A dog chasing his tail has more luck than I. I know about Soul Edge, but what about Tanegashima? That's our name for rifles in Japan. Even the lowliest of soldiers can become a force to reckon with if they have one of them. But the weapon isn't what makes a warrior a warrior. When I return home, I hope to prove this. I shall abandon my search and consider my journey valuable training. Many strong warriors exist throughout the world. If I had stayed in Japan, I would never have known this. But I don't know if ships have been sailing from Yangguan. The old man says something peculiar is going on over there, but he's not especially trustworthy. So why do you wish to head there? I told him the commotion in Yangguan was probably caused by the appearance of an astral fissure, and that I sought the power of the fissures. Astral fishies? Never heard of him. Still, the direction we headed is the same, so I shall join you. You have nothing to fear with me, dear. Mitsurugi gave a hearty laugh. Ha! Ah! 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 The road ahead was long, and we were going to have a camp on the way. His company was welcome. But you know what isn't welcome? Nightmares about Soul Edge! That's never gonna get old. Hey! Hey, wake up! You were screaming in your sleep. It was noisy, so I kicked you until you woke up. Everything okay? I explained to him that if I didn't absorb the power from astral fissures, I would die. Honestly, your whole tale is hard to swallow. But I can tell something's got you jumping at least. Very well. Tomorrow we hasten our pace. It had been longer than I realized since I had last absorbed the power of an astral fissure. I needed to get to one quickly. With a growing sense of urgency, I continued my journey. We're running out of time. We need to get to the astral fissure quick. Rumors from Yangguan. Let's listen to them. We stopped off at a village along our way, hoping to find some information on Yangguan and gather supplies. Welcome! Welcome! You do not look well at all to me. Eat heartily. Get some fire in your belly. Who knows what awaits us on the road ahead? A true warrior must be fully prepared to fight at all times. But it can't be prepared if the food is mackerel flavored. So in other words, I won't complain if you want to order a feast. We intend to go to Yangguan, but we heard things are rough there. Do you know anything? At the mention of Yangguan, the shopkeeper's smile slipped. I hear that things are quite bad. A number of people were attacked. When they caught the culprit, it turned out to be one of the townspeople gone mad. Soon more and more people began acting strangely, the killings resumed, and the bodies began to pile up. That was when the panic started. You wouldn't think it now, but it used to be the most prosperous town in the area. Some of its residents have even fled here to our tiny little hamlet. It was worse than I had expected. Was the astral fissure responsible? My fear for Howron's safety grew steadily stronger. I tried to reassure myself that he was capable of looking after himself, and that emotions were prohibited. I hear the area around Yangguan is teeming with mad townsfolk who butcher anyone they can find. I say this for your own safety. Turn back. Your concern is appreciated, but my friend here has no intention of turning tail. Isn't that right? I nodded to the grinning Mitsurugi, but unease swelled in my stomach. The sharp pains in my head showed no sign of letting up either. She has come back, just as I expected. Because of the astral fissure, I assume. How should we respond? It is too soon to act. Stay your hand. She may be Aswell's creature, and you say we should merely stand by? You disapprove of my decision? Tracking Aswell is our priority. Besides, she seems to be heading to Yangguan. We can assess the threat there. Understood. Very well. The bro's following us again. You creep. We are here in Yangguan. And we got a murderer! You okay? You look terrible. Well, Yangguan isn't much farther. We can rest when we get there. What's that? Help! A man was running toward us from the direction of the town. He seemed to be terrified. He's gonna kill me! Help! I don't want to die! A dark figure appeared behind the man, moving with preternatural speed. In the blink of an eye, the figure mercilessly struck down a defenseless man. Oh! Then the dark figure noticed us. Waves of fury and bloodlust sent a sickening chill down my spine. Without hesitation, I readied my weapon. And that's when I realized it was Howron. Something was very wrong. His eyes glowed like embers, and his face was twisted into a menacing snarl. Blood covered his tattered clothes, barely concealing bulging muscles, which looked more like those of a monster than a well-trained fighter. There was no trace of Howron's calm demeanor and ready smile, but it was, without a doubt, him. You! His voice was a bestial growl. A mad grin broke across his face as he licked the blood from his weapon. He stared at me for a long moment, then turned and ran toward young Guan. So that's one of these mad townsfolk, huh? Vicious. The man Howron murdered lay still before me. I couldn't believe what I'd just seen. What's wrong? Still in shock, I explained everything to Mitsurugi. I see. As a friend, you wish to help him, right? That may not be possible. I have fought many a warrior in my time, so I can tell. He gloried in that kill. If he's that far gone, I doubt we'll be able to reason with him. He might be beyond our help. What had happened to Howron? I thought back to what Zasoma had told me. Many malfested lose all sense of reason, become violent, and attack people. Astral fissures exude a massive amount of force that will either destroy anyone weak who dares approach it, or turn them into a malfested. It was likely that Howron had been transformed into a malfested by the astral fissure in Yangguan. While I stood there lost in thought, a young man appeared and approached us. Excuse me, do you know my brother by any chance? He must have been talking about Howron. Looking closer, I saw that the young man had the look of a martial artist to him. My name is Hao Yu. That murderer, Howron. He's my brother. Hao Yu knelt down to the corpse of the man from town. He's become something terrible. After a silent prayer, Hao Yu slowly stood up. Yangguan is fraught with danger. Come with me. I tried, but I could not stop Howron. So, I have a favor I need to ask of you. Judging by his stride, Hao Yu was injured. Nevertheless, he appeared filled with determination. Please forgive me for interrupting your journey. I asked him what had happened to Howron. After my brother returned from his journey, how can I explain it? It all began when he volunteered to inspect an unusual rift that had appeared. Apparently, he'd seen something similar on his travels. That was where everything started to go wrong. With each passing day, my brother began acting stranger and stranger. He started to speak crudely and grew needlessly violent. Then one day he just left. We trained together all the time, but I was too scared to do anything at first. After that, well, you saw it for yourself. He became a monster. Soon, many others became like Howron, and they began slaughtering each other. However, none can match my brother's martial prowess. I thought I'd see his training used for such evil. For a short while, we all fell silent, and Hao Yu looked at me, his eyes filled with determination. I practically worshipped my brother. He was always so noble, kind, and strong. He would help anybody who needed it without hesitation. That's why I wish to stop him now. I beg you, kill him. End his suffering. Hao Yu's injury was no doubt affecting his ability to fight, but his will remained strong. Are you certain you want me to kill your brother? None of this is easy for me. However, if nothing is done, Yangguan will become a ghost town. My brother's sins are already too many. If he were in my position, he'd do the same thing. Hao Yu's voice trembled slightly when he spoke. Can Howron be saved, if possible? I searched hard for another way, be it through medicine, magic, anything. But every road led to failure, and nothing I could do helped. None in young Wang who suffered the same fate as my brother could be brought back either. Hao Yu's expression was filled with pain, but his grim acceptance of the situation only served to emphasize the strength of his resolve. There may still be a way. In Lingsheng Su, where my brother and I studied, people spoke of a legendary old man who may know how to resist this evil. But the stories about him were always vague. And besides, it would take many a day simply to reach his temple. Thank you again for agreeing to help. It must be the fate for an acquaintance of my brother to show up during these dark times. For eyes so young, they seemed filled with exceptional resolve. I knew that I, too, would have to prepare myself for what lay ahead. Now it's time to take on Howron. Decisions. Hao Yu had made up his mind. Now it was my turn. Howron had fallen victim to malfestation, and I had to decide what to do. I have reduced health, and your opponent has increased attack power. Not good. Hao Yu led us into the forest where he said he would find Howron. Here. This is where my brother and I used to train. The forest was eerily quiet. However, I could feel unfriendly eyes following our every move. You came. Howron stepped out from the shadows. Draw your weapon. I thirst for blood. Howron breathed erratically, like a possessed beast, and his eyes were filled with an insatiable bloodlust. He was ready to attack at any moment. Howron! Stop all of this already, please! Hao Yu? Give it up. You cannot stop me. I was both shocked and sad to see what Howron had become. I asked him how a warrior like him could lose control like this, and he froze. I may have looked like a decent human being, but I always knew that was not so. A dark shadow dwelled in my heart. I wanted to become like this, to crave the sight of blood, to know the ecstasy of tearing into flesh. These were the ravings of a madman. I trained my body and mind to keep the darkness within from escaping. But the stronger I became, the stronger the conflict within me grew. Why did I seek strength? Why? Why? I knew why. Howron readied his weapon, then let out a terrifying howl. Do you think yourself a true warrior? Then prove it! Show me the darkness that lurks inside you! This is supposed to be an emotional battle. For any other character, any other playthrough. And so, we gotta kill Howron. We gotta.
Battle 1. Fight!
His clothes are all dirty. That's over. That was the best of, and he broke me. Ah, he broke me again.
I'll kill you.
Battle 2. Fight!
We're running away. It's supposed to be an emotional battle. Die, Howron.
We will continue to fight until our day of reckoning comes.
Howron lay on the floor, defeated. My head throbbed and the world spun. I wasn't sure if it was because of the adrenaline or the influence of the astral chaos. I had to decide what to do about Howron. My priority was to kill Howron, directed to me by Hao Yu. And it is cruel to make a human suffer for long periods of time. Besides, Hao Yu even admitted himself, if he were in Howron's position, Howron would do the same thing to him. So, it shall be. Howron! Hao Yu. So it was you who brought her here. No. Don't say anything. Howron gathered his strength for one last message. You did the right thing. I accept this fate. My suffering can finally end. Howron let out one final breath, then was still. Though he had at last found peace, his face was frozen in an expression of sadness. Tears streamed down Hao Yu's face, and the sound of his weeping echoed through the trees. In accordance with Hao Yu's wishes, we buried Howron peacefully in the forest. You did what I couldn't do. Thank you. I thought I knew everything there was to know about my brother. I thought I knew everything there was to know about my brother, but I knew nothing of the darkness in his heart. When I recover, I shall resume my training and fill the void my brother has left. Please, come to see me again. I promise you that one day I'll become the man my brother strived to be.
Your soul surges in your body.
Sad do-do-do-do.
Your soul resonates with the darkness.
And our soul has turned towards evil since we killed Howron. And so, we end this episode on a somber note. So once this is over, we'll go ahead and close this astral fissure in Yangguan, and then go from there. Until then, I'll see you later.